Welcome back, our dear listeners. This is Silas Kiriinya. I'm a counseling psychologist, and today we are discussing about a very important topic on warning signs during dating. Now, warning signs during dating, and this has come as a result of the session we had last week, which was basically discussing much more on what is dating, proper ways of dating. And so Silas Kiriinya is a counseling psychologist by profession and the CEO of Amazon Counseling Center. So Amazon Counseling Center, we in CBD, JQuat Towers, or what was formerly known as ICM building on 17th floor. And we provide counseling services for all those who need psychological support of whatever nature. It can be relationships. It can be, you're preparing yourself for marriage. You have already gone to the church and gotten the support from the church, the teachings of the church, and then you can also seek some psychological support to be able to know the best way to begin relationships. It can be after loss. You have lost some beloved person. So how do you deal with that? Because it's weighing you down, or you've lost a relationship. It can be you're grappling with mental illnesses, depression, bipolar disorder, substance use. You have abusive relationships. All that we support, so that we have a healthy nation. That is our focus, because we know without mental health, then there is no health at all. Without mental health, there is no health at all. So we'll continue. We are here every Monday from 8 to 9 a.m. And we are discussing a program that we run. Is called Family Life Program. Family Life Program. Basically, we support our families so that we can have a better, healthy, and a happy nation. So today we are discussing about warning signs during dating. I've already handled the first one, which is manipulation, and I think is key. Now the second one is anger. Anger. Now we define anger as a natural emotion. It's a natural emotion. I know oftentimes you don't like anger, but actually anger can be good to some extent. It can be good to some extent, because we are saying it's a natural emotion. It arises when you get threatened. So when you have a threat of whatever nature, there is likely it result into two things. One is anger, the other one is fear. Now, anger enables you to defend yourself so that you don't lose yourself in the threat. I know a case where we went through something with a friend of mine. We were taking care of our cattle back at home. And so I remember we were just there, just beside one of the rivers, big rivers, and we saw a very big python was really coming towards us. And this friend of mine, I think, was really, really shocked when he saw the python, because it was really big, like I think about 3 meters, and was this wide, like really, really like big. And when he saw it, he was really terrified. And so he stood there and just waited, and he was saying, I can see a snake. I can see a snake. Like for a moment, he got into a trace of some sort. And so I had to go and pick him and remove him from that place, because for me, I'd already started running. So that is one with that anger that got into me, is what made me run. But for him, he was shocked and he stood there. So anger is a good emotion. But then anger, if not well managed, in the relationship, it can destroy it completely. It can destroy the relationship completely. And I know some people would say, for example, will improve. It's okay, you can improve, and there's no problem with that. But then you have to really, really start working on that, like today, because anger can mess up the relationship completely. Because it means then with anger, you don't ever get to resolve any issue that you have, because everything, the reaction, any unpleasant thing, anything that they don't like, they will respond to it with anger. Now, when they get angry, remember, they will make you walk in a what is the word? The eggshells. Yes, that's the word we use. It's like you're walking on eggshells. You're afraid of breaking them. So you make sure that when you're with them, you have to navigate so nicely so that they don't get angry. So that means then, in your relationship, you will never live your life. You will always live their life. You will actually be looking forward into making them happy, or at least not making them get angry. And so if that is the case, then it means you will never express yourself. It's part of manipulation also. It means you will never express yourself, because every moment you disagree on something, they get angry. For example, they come and tell you, I want us now to invest, and how much can you bring in into this investment? You are just dating. You're just in your second month or third month in dating, and they want you to invest together. And we see that happening. And actually, my encouragement to people is do not invest yet. You're not yet there. It's just like me, a counselor. I'm a psychologist. You come for therapy, one session, then you will be coming for 10 more sessions. And then in the second session, we begin a business deal. Now, will I be a business person in this deal and still your counselor? When you come to counseling, what will you be? When you come to me, will I look at you as a business partner, or will I look at you as my counselor? I mean, as my client. So when you begin that dual relationship of investing together at the first stages, then you suffer later on, because you will not be able to establish yourself really. You will not be able to tell this person what it is that you need, what it is that you want. You can't tell them outrightly because you already investors together. So if they take away the business with them, they block you. For example, let's say transactions were done on phone and you're using his phone, and so he decides to take all the money. How are you going to survive? So when you meet next for dating session, will you date and talk about your relationship and how you'll be moving on? Or are you talking about the money that was stolen? So how will you be able to really remain sober through and through? So do not invest yet. You actually invest only when now you start the marriage itself. When you have gotten married, you have begun your life together, start investing. But when you invest before, then what if you divorce along the way? So who goes with that property? If, for example, you bought a piece of land together when you're dating, and it's okay. I mean, you have money, you want to invest, but must you invest with your boyfriend or your girlfriend at this point? What if somewhere along the way they decide and say, okay, no, we can't go on with this relationship because I don't like your mother, because I don't like your father. Just on basis on that. And then they decide to go. And then you will try to sell the lot. I mean, you want to sell the lot and move on, but they can't allow. They keep it. They keep you there because it's a way of manipulating you. So it's important not to begin that investing together. So what I'm saying is they can resort to anger. When you're investing together, they bring anger, and that can destroy the relationship. So it's always good to try as much as you can. Actually, if you look at the Bible, it also talks about anger. For example, I want just to pick one verse in the book of Ephesians. It is a reading that I think is really important that we listen to what it's telling us. So it's Ephesians chapter 4, verses 26. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 26. It says clearly that and put on the new self. Ephesians 4, verses 26. Be angry, but do not sin. Do not let the sun set on your anger. Be angry, but do not sin. Do not let the sun set on your anger. So it means already that you can get angry, and it's okay. That's why I call it a natural emotion. It's a normal thing. You can get angry, but then do not let that anger destroy you. Because if you let the anger destroy you, it will destroy you completely. It will destroy everything. It will destroy the love you have. It will destroy the feelings you have for each other. It will destroy you and destroy everything else that you have been able to build together during this period of relationship. Now, there is also another verse which is really beautiful. It is on in the book of Proverbs. Proverbs 29:22. Proverbs 29:22. Proverbs 29:22 says that ill-tempered man stirs up disputes, and a hot-headed man is the cause of many sins. Some Bible will say it's the cause of many troubles. So when you are a person of anger, constantly getting angry, you cause trouble. Not that trouble is existing. You actually cause trouble that is not there. So it becomes a very unhealthy relationship because you don't allow the other person to exist for who they are. The other thing is what we call the mindset, and particularly I'm touching on fixed mindset. Fixed mindset. Now, when you define mindset, is a set of assumptions, methods, or notions held by one or more people, or maybe a group of people, a society, It refers to whether you believe qualities such as intelligence and talent are fixed or changeable traits. In other words, mindset, and especially now the fixed mindset, we have two kinds of mindsets. We have growth mindset and fixed mindset. So the growth mindset believes that, yes, I am here today, but I believe I can be at a better place. They look at what they have gone through in the past, and then they try to tell themselves, okay, I can learn from the past and be able to move on. So they believe even if you don't have qualities now, you can acquire them along the way. Now, fixed mindset believes that qualities cannot by any means be improved. They believe that what you have is what you keep. What you have today, for example, let's say you are intelligent and they perceive it as intelligence, so they will agree with you that you remain that intelligence. But for example, if you have no ability, let's say you are a person of anger, they don't believe you can change. So they don't give you a room to change. And they themselves also have no room to change because the qualities cannot be improved. It is either you are born with them or you don't have them. So that's why they don't believe in working something. They don't believe in working out. For example, even from an academic setup, you realize that they don't believe that they can improve. They only believe that they are born intelligent, and if they are not born intelligent, then they are not intelligent, and they can never be intelligent. They cannot improve their intelligence. And so this is a very bad kind of mindset. Is a mindset that cannot make you grow in a relationship because they are fixated. So, for example, if you do something in this relationship, when you're courting, let's say, for example, you annoy them. Let's say also you don't agree with them on something. They will constantly remind you on that date. They will remember the date. They will remember the time. They remember where you are, and they will remind you what you said and the reaction that came out of that. And so they don't let you grow. The other one, another trait that is important to look for is passive aggressive. Passive aggressive. Now, passive aggressive by definition is a pattern of indirectly expressing negative feelings instead of people openly addressing them. So what they do is they will express their feelings, but they will not talk about it. They will not tell you. They will just form a pattern where they're indirect. They don't tell you. For example, they can get angry and they try to smile. But then their reaction after that, you realize that this person was not happy. So for example, they go silent. They didn't tell you that they are annoyed. They didn't tell you that they didn't like what you said. They didn't tell you that they have noticed you are manipulating them. But their reaction will actually now show that they were not happy. So there is a disconnection or disconnect between what a passive aggressive person says and what he or she does. So what they say is different from what they do. So they will tell you they love you, but they will show all the signs of hating you. They will tell you how they love the way you look, but they will show you signs, that really for sure they don't like you. So it's important you be aware of such people. And sometimes we think is a good way of managing a relationship, is a good way of not arousing the negative emotions of the other person. And so we think it's part of walking in what I was calling walking in eggshells. You're trying to navigate and you can't go direct, you can't be assertive. Because the opposite of that should be assertive, actually, whereby you're opening up about what you're feeling and also caring about the feelings of the other person. The other trait, which is trait number 5, is justifiers. Justifiers. Now, justifiers, basically what they do is everything they do, they will justify it. For example, you have an argument, they leave you. Like you're having coffee, or maybe you are going traveling home to go and meet the parents because you want to know each other much more. And somewhere along the way, they abandon you because they got angry. So they drop you on the way and they drop back or they go wherever. So you have to take a matatu and go home. And then later on when you meet, they justify. They try to tell you, see, the reason why I dropped you on the way is because really you annoyed me. You said this and this and that. You said you don't like me. You said you don't like the way I talk. You said you don't like the way I'm dressed. And so that's why I dropped you. Or for example, it can be even a serious abuse. They have hit you or slapped you or something. And then you tell them, you slapped me, and so you have to apologize. And they tell you, no, I can't apologize. Why should I apologize? And I know very well that you're the one who began the battle or the fight. You are the one who started this argument. Do I ever start arguments? I don't start any argument. You are the one who begins all the arguments. So you began this argument and I got angry. That's why it went that way. So they do not admit that they were wrong. They will not apologize for that. So they will make sure that they justify everything else that they do. So what will happen to you? Because they have justified, they say, okay, so I hit you because you are the one who shouted at me. You got me angry. So it means then you withdraw. You don't get them angry. And so they continue manipulating you more and more. Now, the other trait number 6 is aggressive. Now, aggressive, if you look at it from definition, is a reactionary or impulsive behavior that often results in breaking household rules or the law. Aggressive behavior is violent and unpredictable. So this behavior is a behavior whereby you don't listen to the other person. It is so impulsive. You cannot predict it. It can come at any point, and from there you start now, breaking things. If not breaking things, you can beat up someone. If not beating up someone, you can shout at them. You can demean them. You can say all manner of negative words. You break them down. You tell them you're not good, you're not nice, you're not beautiful, you're not handsome. I don't like the way your tummy is and all that. They talk of all these things. They even start comparing you with other people and so and so. Look at that, my friends, they have a better relationship than us, and all manner of things. They say very aggressive things. So aggressive people do not care about the world of the other person. They actually care only about their world. And whatever makes them feel nice, that is what they go for, whether it is nice for you or not. Whatever makes them feel happy, that's what they will go for. Whatever makes them feel angry, it doesn't matter whether it was meaningful to you. It doesn't matter whether it was something that was misinterpreted. They will just believe that the world, they are true and you are wrong. And when you're in such a relationship, it's just a matter of time that you get to the other level that we call passive, which is number 7. You become passive. Passive is where you sacrifice your own preferences and needs so that you can help the other to meet their preferences and needs. So in other words, it is the other person who exists and you do not exist. And we have many people, even in marriage today, who live that way. It is my spouse who lives, I don't live. As in, if, for example, there is something that is dissatisfying you in the relationship, you are quite unsatisfied in the relationship, you can't say it, because you don't want your spouse to get angry. So you become very passive. You allow them have their way. So if someone is a manipulator, and you can see all traits of manipulation that I mentioned in the beginning, but then you realize still you cannot talk about it because you want to keep peace. Whose peace are you keeping? Tell me. Let me ask you a question. Just directly, just tell me. Do you really get at point of peace when you don't talk about it? When something has really, really disappointed you, you don't talk about it. Do you really get that peace which you say you're preserving peace? You can only preserve peace if you are ready to keep that peace, to fight for that peace. And fighting for peace requires, to address that manipulation, to address that anger, to address that fixated mindset, to address that aggressiveness, that justifying kind of behavior, and that aggressiveness. It requires us to face it head on and deal with it. Of course, you don't just deal with it end on, because that would, end on aggressively. You have to be assertive in it. You have to really learn other conflict skills that will be necessary to be able to address it. So you can't say, I'm keeping peace. Whose peace are you keeping? When you are crying the whole night because your spouse is not faithful in the relationship, whose peace are you keeping? Then let's go to the other trait. The other trait is what we call intense and highly involved. Intense and highly involved people. So people who have this tendency, they are people who want to make it serious. The moment you get the first 2 months, you're in the relationship, you're also in school, but they want you to move in. They want you to start now visiting the parents. They want you to introduce them to all the friends that you have. They want to be so part of your life. They are known by the family members. They want to make everybody happy, and they are so intense. They want to get into it, and they want you to get committed very fast. Now, such people do not give you room to grow. The relationship, we need to grow in a relationship, to move from one point of relationship to the other. But this can only happen in freedom, where autonomy is exercised. If autonomy is not exercised, I am assuring you that you cannot whatsoever be able to grow in a relationship. If assertiveness is not there, you cannot grow in a relationship. Because it means it is the other person. You try to reach out and become the other and not become yourself, who you're supposed to be. So allow people in the relationship to go step by step until they feel ready. I know many people ask me, so how do I know that now that I am ready to move on? How do I know that now I'm ready to move in a relationship? I simply say, when you're ready. So the moment you feel that your heart is contented, the moment you feel, now I have known this person very well, and I can introduce them to my family members, I can introduce them to my friends, I can introduce them to whoever, then this is the time that you're ready to move on with this person. The other trait number 9, is a trait we call jealous. And I know people say men are jealousy by nature. Very interesting. Men are jealous by nature. I don't know. That's something that we need to have a conversation another day. We need to have a conversation on that. Are we really by nature? I don't know. Yeah. Now, it's something to think about. However, this is what happens when someone is jealous. So jealous, by definition, we say is a feeling or showing a resentful suspicion that one's partner is attracted or is involved with someone else. So they actually suspect, you know, they suspect you. Sorry, they suspect you. Like there's nothing that you have done whatsoever. You're just with your friends, enjoying good moments. You went to watch football, or you're watching a movie with your friends, or after school you're hanging just around, discussing a few things, maybe the paper that is coming up, or with your friends. You have just decided to go to, you know, hike, maybe to go to Gong Forest or Gong Hills or Karura Forest and just enjoy yourselves this weekend with your colleagues, and they just conclude that you are actually attracted to those people. So this is part also manipulation, because how can you live without someone that, other people that you loved? You can't get into a relationship and forget other people completely. Now, if you read the book of Job, Job chapter 5, you know, the book of Job looks like only the book of about suffering and all that. So it looks like it can get about jealous, but let's see what the Job tells us in Job chapter 5, verses 2. It says that, nay, impatience kills the fool, and indignation lays the simpleton. The other Bible, for example, like the one that I have here, basically speaks about jealous. It calls it by name. Let me see, Job. It's taking time. Okay, because we don't have much time, maybe I could have gone into that. Yes, but it says basically, if you're jealous, you destroy your own, you destroy yourself, you destroy others. So when you get jealous, you don't allow the other person to grow. It doesn't mean when you get into a relationship, you lose everybody else. You retain your friends, especially those friends that are good friends, friends that empower you, motivate you. You retain those friends. But the moment you cut from your friends, you are getting into manipulation. The other one is isolators, and I think that I mentioned, so I don't have to get into that so much. Then I'll go to another one we call rationalist or rationalization. Now, if you look at rationalization by definition, we say it's a defense mechanism identified by a great psychologist called Freud. According to Freud, when people are not able to deal with the reasons, they behave in a particular ways. They protect themselves by creating self-justifying explanations for their behavior. So what they do is they never deal with a problem. They rationalize it. So you come and tell them, for example, today I'm really feeling disappointed. And they tell you very fast, then give you the solution on how to deal with that rationalization. They don't allow you to feel yourself. They also do not allow you to express yourself. They want to rationalize everything. Then number 12 is victim players. So victim players, these people who have a victim mentality, is an acquired personality trait in which a person tends to recognize or consider themselves as victims of the negative actions of others, and do behave as if this were the case in the face of contrary evidence of such circumstances. So basically what it means is, in every argument that takes place, they are victim. There is no way you can be a victim all through. There is no way you can be on the right all the time. Sometimes you go wrong by the way you think, by the way you interpret. So when you see someone is playing victim all the time, they want you now to, protect them, because victims are protected. I usually ask people when I want to know who they are. I usually ask them, if you see a lion running after a gazelle, so who do you feel for? Do you feel for the gazelle? Do you feel for the lion? So that actually can expose who we are. Are we a victim? Victims? Are we perpetrators? So it's good to look at that. And then towards at the end now, there are people I call undertakers. Now, undertakers, you know them as people work in the morgue. So those are the undertakers. Now, undertakers are people who kill your dreams in a relationship. You get into a relationship, you bring in a new idea, they will just flash it out. They will make sure they kill that dream forever. You come and tell them, I want to study hard and get to Cambridge University. And they tell you, by the way, you can't make, even to that Karatina University, you can't make, even to that village university, you can't make. Look at what you got in for example, what you got in primary school. You can't make it. And so they want to make sure that you don't sustain or nurture any gift or talents or dream that you have. And lastly now, watch out for substance use. I think that is key. If I had more time, I would really talk about that. But for sure, substance use is a key thing to look for. I know sometimes because we are enjoying ourselves in that reel, we don't realize how much we're using that substance. Because every time we are meeting at the bar, you're drinking and our friends are buying for us. And we're also using other substances, maybe wind and other substances. So watch for that. If you abuse substance in the beginning of the relationship, do not expect a father who is at home all the time to be with you. Do not expect a mother who is always at home to be with the children, because they will be drinking then. There is no miracle. And listen to this clearly. There is no miracle that happens when you get married. There is no miracle. You continue to be the same people. If you have not been working on yourselves, then the issues that you had at the beginning are the issues that will remain. So you have to really work on yourselves before you get there. If there is an issue of substance, work on it now. Otherwise, later on, it will destroy the whole relationship. So I hope to see you again next Monday, 8 to 9 in the morning, discussing about family matters. So next week, we will discuss actually on the stages of relationship. How do relationship grow? From the beginning all the way, because now we have moved from courtship, we are getting now into more serious relationship. So how do relationship grow? So if you have any question, you can actually ask us any comment that you have. You can go on our YouTube, on Facebook page, Radio Maria Nairobi, and you'll be able to reach us, and then we'll see your comments and your questions. I will be able to answer them on that particular day on Monday, so that we can strengthen our relationships. I wish you well as you date, and also make prayer part of what you do, part of the activities when you're dating, so that you can know the will of God. Thank you. My name is Silas Kiriinya. Thank you.